Hey, welcome everyone. This is Jeff from the Overwatch team. Here's another developer update. This one's going to be awesome. I think we're finally ready to talk about some features that you guys have been requesting for a really long time. As I mentioned earlier in the year, we've been working on social features to really improve the gameplay experience for everybody in Overwatch. So we have two of those to talk about today. Now, the first one is super exciting to me because we often talk about ways to punish players who are behaving poorly, and it's not very exciting to a lot of us. I think more often than not, players are behaving in an awesome way in Overwatch, and we just don't recognize them enough. So we're super excited to introduce a feature called endorsements. The way endorsements will work is when you're playing Overwatch after a match ends, you'll have the opportunity to look at players both on your team and the enemy team and recognize them for certain gameplay behaviors that you want to really show that they shined in that area. So there are three areas that you can endorse a player in. The first we call sportsmanship. This is if they were being a really nice, respectful person. Maybe they said, nice shot when you killed me. That was really awesome. I like the way you did that. Really just good sportsmanship, being a positive influence on the battlefield. So you can recognize somebody for that. The next endorsement that you can give is for a good teammate. And now you can't give this to the enemy team. This one only applies to your team. Good teammate, you might recognize somebody for doing something along the lines of, your team currently has a Hanzo on it. Your Hanzo player, you think would be better off switching to another hero, and you say, hey, instead of that Hanzo, I think we could really use Mei in this situation, and the person switches to Mei, and then you win the match. And you sort of recognize that that person was a really good teammate. They switched to a role that was needed for the team at the time, and they did a really good thing. Or they respond in respectful ways when people are asking, maybe the Mercy player says, we get to the edge so I can heal you. I need somebody to fly up to, and the person moves to the edge. So you can recognize somebody for being a really good teammate, playing the game as a team player in a very high and effective way. The final way that you can endorse someone, and this one is also only for your team, not for the enemy team, is called shot caller. Now, what we think shot callers should be recognized for is those are the men and women who end up on our team, who end up telling the rest of us what to do in a very positive, respectful, and effective way. It's usually the person who says, okay, guys, we're not going to all go in until our Zarya's ult is ready and Hanzo has his ult ready. Once I make the call, everybody move in, and we'll have a really successful take on that point. Or, hey, we should back out now. Our Mercy was just killed. Let's back out. It's the person who's calling the targets, calling when to go in and out of the match, and generally leading us on the battlefield. And we want those people to really be recognized as shot callers. So the endorsement system is going to be very public. You're going to get to see other players and how they're endorsed. So when you see other players, you're going to be able to recognize, wow, that person, a lot of my fellow Overwatch players has said that person's a great teammate. So I know that I can expect a good experience out of them. The system will work in a few ways. It will make sure that you maintain that endorsement level, meaning that once you get to a certain high endorsement level, you don't just stay there forever. You kind of have to, be recognized by other players more frequently. So there are mechanisms in place to make sure that somebody doesn't get to a good place and just stay there forever. It's that person has been a good sportsman or shown good sportsmanship. It means that they've been a great shot caller for some period of time. So there's a decay system on it. Also, if you've been actioned in any way, silenced or suspended, you completely lose all endorsements altogether. You go back to square one, and you pretty much have to start over. So we think the system will be great. There are some rewards in place. For example, you get a minor reward for endorsing other people. You can only endorse a very limited amount of people per match. So it's not something that you can just do to exploit for experience or something like that. And then also, people who hit high endorsement levels frequently we will do these check-in moments where we will reward those people for being awesome at what they do. So that's endorsements. That's coming. We are super excited about it. We think it's going to have a big impact on showing the Overwatch community just how many awesome Overwatch players there are and how many positive moments are actually happening in the game. The next system has been long awaited and long demanded, and that is looking for group. We put a lot of time and effort into designing and implementing this system. Our looking for group system will allow you to create a group to your exact specifications. And what I mean by that is if you're a very particular group leader and you want to insist on having 2 tanks, 2 damage, and 2 healers, you can restrict those roles in your group, and you can even force the people playing those roles to only be able to play those roles. Of course, if you want a wide open group where everybody can play whatever they want, you can do that as well. There's some other options within the looking for group system that should be interesting. Like, for example, if you want to say to people in your group, I really want everybody to have voice chat. So I'm going to say, voice chat's required for my group. You can name your group whatever you want. So when it shows up on the list, you can say to people, I'm really trying to get to diamond and competitive and looking for other serious, mature players to play with me, or however you want to name it. You can put that in there to try to attract the other people who are looking for a similar experience as you are. The whole idea behind looking for group, like with our avoid as teammate feature we added a short while ago, is to give you more control over your gameplay experience. We think Overwatch is a team game, and you always have to play with 5 other people, and we think you'll have a much better experience if you have some say in what the other people on your team are doing, what their sort of play behavior is, and if you have some input and interaction with them. So we think looking for group will be really awesome. One thing to note about it is it's not a matchmaking system. When you go to look for a group, you're either creating a group and showing it to other players, or you're browsing the list as somebody looking for the group and then committing to join that group. It's not automatically pulling players in and putting them into the system. That's what our basic matchmaking does right now when you click play on Quick Play or competitive or any of our arcade games. So keep that in mind. It's more of a system for finding each other than you go into the gameplay system. So that's looking for group. We think it will be awesome. Now, a few minor housekeeping notes on the looking for group system. As I mentioned earlier, we have collapsed the offense and defense roles into damage. I don't know if you caught that when I said earlier that you can have tank, damage, and support. We're now limiting the game in terms of number of roles to only those 3 roles. So previously, where we had heroes like Tracer, who was considered an offense hero, and Junkrat, who was considered a defense hero, all of those heroes are now in the same role, which is simply called damage. We think this greatly simplifies things. It will really help the looking for group system, and we think it makes a lot of sense. And those roles were sort of arbitrary to begin with. It was just to help newer players figure out what the different heroes did. The other big change that's coming in regards to the looking for group system is that player profiles, we will now give you control over who gets to see those. You can set it so your profile is private, you can set it so your profile is friends only, or you can set it like it currently is right now, which is to public. By default, these will not be public moving forward. Again, our theme is give you control over your gameplay experience. We recognize that other players were sometimes giving us a hard time based on our player profile. We think you have the right to decide if you want people to see that or not. Now, it's a huge patch that's coming up. There's a major Symmetra rework happening. We're going to have a great description of all of Symmetra's new abilities and everything that's different about the hero. As has been mentioned before, and some of you know, some of you don't, she is moving to the damage category, so please make sure to read that update. And also, major changes are happening to the Horizon Lunar Colony map. And we're going to go into great detail. We're going to post a complete description of the changes that are happening there as well. And we think you'll find those really interesting. For example, on point B on Horizon Lunar Colony, you can no longer sort of attack from the defender's spawn room within the safety of the healing zone like you were able to previously. We fixed that issue, but we've made some really big changes to the map. There's also some beautiful art and new lore in the map as well that we think you'll be really interested in. All in all, we think it's a great patch. These two major social systems we think will make Overwatch a much better experience. We have more social systems on the way. I hinted at this before. Not only are we going to deliver 2 early on in the summer, but we have another big feature coming later on, either in the late summer or early fall. These features are brand new. I'm sure we're going to have to iterate on them a lot. Please speak up. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. We'll make changes as necessary. Thanks so much, and we hope you enjoy the features.